Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are tackling, well, one of the most profound and challenging ideas out there.
We really are.
The claim that a secret, highly advanced infrastructure has developed in the shadows,
One that's supposedly driven by technology from the UFO phenomenon.
and that this has led to something the sources call a breakaway civilization. We're going to be unpacking that, looking at the evidence presented in Richard Dolan's work and other related material.
Right. And our mission here is to really synthesize this for you, because this isn't just a collection of, strange sightings.
Yeah.
It's a theory that a hidden group reverse engineered non-human technology, giving them this massive technological and financial leap.
A leap so big it allows them to operate completely outside of any laws or, frankly, any oversight we would recognize.
Exactly. And that's the core idea you need to hold on to. The UFO phenomenon, in this view, isn't some trivial mystery.
It's the engine.
It's the engine, the very thing that powers this global system of secrecy and ultimately control.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. The first piece of this puzzle is just the sheer scale of what's going on in our skies.
The scale of the anomalous traffic. The sources point out that in North America alone, you're looking at roughly 15,000 UFO reports every year.
And that's just what gets reported.
Right. And you have to assume most people don't report, maybe 1 in 10, if that. So let's say only 5% of those reports are genuinely anomalous, truly strange.
Okay.
Even with those very conservative filters, you're still looking at something like 7,500 genuinely puzzling sightings.
Every single year, just in North America.
Every single year. And when you start to imagine that on a global scale, the numbers become, well, they become pretty hard to ignore.
And these aren't just lights in the sky. The scientific implications are staggering.
Oh, absolutely. The performance of these craft, it just defies our physics.
Yeah.
We're talking about trip-zagging at hypersonic speeds, shooting straight up out of the atmosphere.
Things that no conventional aircraft can do.
No. I mean, it's a direct challenge to our understanding of propulsion, of aerodynamics, everything.
And that scientific challenge leads directly to an economic one, doesn't it?
It has to. These craft, whatever they are, they're clearly not burning jet fuel. They're not using petroleum.
Which implies a post-petroleum civilization is possible.
Not just possible, it suggests that it might already exist in secret.
Right.
And that fact alone is a massive threat to the entire global financial structure, which is, built on oil.
So you have this phenomenon with world-changing implications, scientifically, economically, and yet, what's the official response?
Nothing. Silence. Denial. It gets no serious recognition from any official institution. Not politics, not mainstream media, not academia.
And the sources argue that's not an accident, that denial is an infrastructure in itself.
That's the perfect word for it. It's a societal fence. It's an active process of building a boundary around acceptable reality. It's about controlling who gets research grants, what stories get buried, what subjects are considered, career killers for serious academics.
All to hide this vast, unacknowledged infrastructure that's supposedly operating right alongside us.
In the skies and, as the sources claim, deep underground.
So if you have this reality-shattering secret, the military imperative to control it becomes absolute.
It has to be. The stakes are just too high. Which is why the sources argue that the official story of the U.S. ending its manned space operations is, nonsense.
Just a public front.
A public front. The military had to dominate space. And we see glimpses of this, right? The alleged secret astronaut corps at Vandenberg Air Force Base, a program we only hear whispers about years after it was supposedly shut down after the Challenger disaster.
So the real question isn't if we went to space secretly, but what they were looking for. Which brings us to the moon.
Yes. And some of the most compelling testimony comes from a man named Ingo Swann.
The remote viewer.
A top government remote viewer. I mean, this is the guy who predicted Jupiter has a ring before our probes got there and confirmed it.
So he had a track record.
He did. And in 1975, he's allegedly tasked by some mysterious figure named Axelrod to remote view the moon.
And what did he see?
He claimed he saw structures, buildings, and he said he saw people or beings who became aware of him. He said, "They're looking at me."
That's chilling. And it wasn't just some one-off experiment.
No. Russell Targ, one of the founders of the official CIA remote viewing program, apparently confirmed that in the 80s, his official task was to train people at Fort Meade to look for extraterrestrials on the far side of the moon.
An official government assignment.
It doesn't get much more official than that. And the whistleblower testimony just keeps lining up with it.
Like Carl Wolf.
Carl Wolf, a photographic technician, who claimed that back in 1965 at an NSA facility, He was shown lunar orbiter photos,
Yeah.
and he saw geometric shapes, towers, spherical buildings, a base on the backside of the moon.
And then there are the code words. This is where it gets really specific.
It does. A NASA subcontractor, Donna Hare, said her job was literally airbrushing UFOs out of photos before they went public. And she said the internal code word they used for ET craft on the moon was Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
Which sounds bizarre until you hear the alleged Apollo radio transmissions that were recovered.
Right. The ones that shift to a secure channel.
Exactly. You hear things like, Houston, we've got a bogey at 2 o'clock, and then a switch to a secure line. And then the phrase itself, mission control, we've got Santa Claus coming over the hill.
It's the exact same terminology.
It reinforces everything. It even backs up the story attributed to Neil Armstrong himself that they had been, in his words, warned off the moon by massive, menacing craft.
So all of this forces a decision, right? Way back after World War II, the leadership under Truman allegedly decides this has to be secret. Total secrecy.
And for two main reasons. One, the obvious one, military advantage over the Soviets. But the second reason, the bigger one.
The economic one.
The economic one. Protect the petroleum-based global order at all costs. You can't let free energy technology get out.
And the whole thing kicks into gear with the so-called crash retrieval syndrome.
Yes, the stories of recovering craft and bodies. Sources cite things like 4 humanoid bodies found in the Southwest in '57, or the accounts of 30 alien bodies and a craft at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. This is the material that jumpstarts the entire secrecy machine.
And to understand just how intense that secrecy was, you have to look at the classification level.
This is a key point. There's a 1950 memo from a Canadian engineer, Wilbert Smith. A very credible source.
What did it say?
He wrote that he was told by U.S. officials that the UFO subject was the most highly classified topic in the entire U.S. government.
The single most classified?
Rating even higher than the H-bomb.
Wait, higher than the H-bomb?
Think about that. The power to literally end civilization was considered less of a secret, less of a threat than this was. That tells you everything about the priorities. It wasn't about existential threat. It was about a threat to the system of control.
And to maintain a secret that big, that costs money. An astronomical amount of money.
The sources estimate the security budget, just keeping it secret, is 7 or 8 times bigger than the actual R&D budget.
So where does that money come from? It can't be on the books.
No, because tax dollars are traceable. They're subject to oversight. So to fund this, they allegedly turned to black budgets fueled by, well, by massive financial fraud and criminal activity.
Specifically narco-trafficking.
That's what the sources claim. They needed huge sums of money that were completely untraceable, and that money gets washed through these incredibly complex, labyrinthian-like financial cutouts.
So you're saying this entire secret infrastructure, which supposedly holds humanity's greatest secrets, is funded like a massive criminal enterprise?
That's the core assertion. It has to be. The very structure of the secrecy necessitates a criminal financing model to keep it off the books and completely unaccountable.
And living with that kind of truth must take a toll. We hear stories about high-level officials who are just broken by it.
Absolutely. The classic example is Jimmy Carter. After his briefing in 1977, he was reportedly seen sobbing or nearly sobbing.
Why?
The alleged reason, and he realized he had no operational control. None. This thing was bigger than the presidency. It wasn't his to command.
Wow. Even the people who built the tech were afraid of it. Ben Rich from Lockheed Skunk Works.
Right. He reportedly said the public could never know the truth because it was just too intense, too powerful, too dramatic, too frightening.
And the fear wasn't just about aliens. It was about what we had become, what the secrecy had turned our own institutions into.
Exactly. The subversion of democracy itself.
Which leads us to the breakaway civilization itself. It's defined by this incredible technological gap.
A staggering gap. An ex-NSA scientist claimed that back in 1964, the agency had a computer running at 650 megahertz.
650 megahertz in 1964.
Yes. It's about 35 years ahead of the consumer market. 35 years.
So they were already living in our future.
And that's just conventional tech. Now you add in the exotic retrieve technology. You classify thousands of related patents. The gap becomes a chasm. They're effectively running a parallel society.
So where is the center of power in this parallel society? It's not the White House.
No. The sources argue the real center of gravity is with the major banks and private entities. The kind of people who attend groups like Bilderberg or Bohemian Grove. They are the ones who manage the system and are working to make themselves totally independent from any national laws. They're the true rulers.
And to stay independent, they have to control the rest of us.
Total control. Politically, the sources allege it's done through blackmail. The intelligence agencies keep dirt on everyone important, ensuring they behave or they get destroyed.
We see that play out all the time.
And on a legal front, you see this push for transnational structures, like the TPP and TTP trade agreements. The goal is to create a global legal framework where corporations and the elite are no longer answerable to you or me.
Or to any government.
Or to any government.
Yeah.
It's all cemented by a system of total surveillance designed to intimidate the population and crush dissent before it even starts.
And it's not just political control, it's cultural.
The sources are very clear on this. The goal is to turn the web, this amazing tool for information, into just another form of television. Through attacks on net neutrality and by constantly promoting what the sources call equally inane distractions.
The Miley Cyrus twerking scandal.
Exactly. Keep the population occupied with trivialities while the real power consolidation happens in the background. It's a form of intellectual pacification.
And the end game of all this is... it's terrifying. It's a kind of class-based transhumanism.
It is. The fear is that while the masses are being, dumbed down by media and environmental toxins, the elite are using classified genetic and nanotech to create a super race.
People who live longer are smarter.
And are fundamentally separate from the rest of humanity. It would create a permanent biological class division.
Okay, so if the system is that corrupt, that deep disclosure from their side seems impossible. They have everything to lose. Criminal prosecutions? For a start.
From their perspective, it's absolutely impossible. But the paradox, according to these sources, is that it's also inevitable.
Oh.
Because the system is unstable. It's built on lies and theft. And culturally, the ground is shifting. The public's slow but steady acceptance of the UFO reality is eroding the foundation of that societal fence we talked about.
So this sets up the real conflict of our time.
The real war. A war between this expanding global police state and, well, people everywhere who just want to be free. And the UFO secret has been a primary driver in building that police state.
So if formal political action is blocked, what's the solution? How do we win?
The sources don't point to politics. They point to culture. It starts with personal bravery.
Just talking about.
Just talking about it. Being unafraid to discuss this with your friends, your family. That simple act of courage is what creates the tipping point.
And then non-participation.
Yes. To the extent you can, you refuse to participate in what they call the expanding criminal system. That means the propaganda system, too.
Turning off the TV.
Turning off the PV, disengaging from the corporate sports spectacles, the controlled election cycles, all the distractions that are designed to consume your energy.
And the final piece is community.
Building real, local, face-to-face communities. Because that provides the emotional support and resilience that you just can't get online. It's what's needed to drive real cultural change.
So the race is on. It's a race between us, the public, developing decentralized revolutionary tech.
Imagine 3D printing a free energy device from a file you downloaded off a future version of the Pirate Bay.
Right. It's a race between that possibility and the control system locking down the legal structures to make sure that can never happen.
And that really is the heart of it. If the greatest breakthroughs, things like clean energy or electrogravitics, which is essentially anti-gravity, have been kept secret for decades by this Breakaway group.
Imagine what would happen if even one of those innovations got out.
Just one. A clean, free energy device available to everyone. It would shatter the entire hierarchy of power that's built on controlling energy and money. It would mean true independence for everyone.
Think about that. Think about the impact on your life, on your community, if energy was no longer the main lever of control. What would that freedom truly look like? We'll leave you with that thought. We've been on the deep dive.